After hundreds of YouTube videos, you still don't understand theory, right? Well, let me show you 6 steps that'll finally make it click so you can play like this. And by the end of this video, you'll be saying exactly what my student Jose said last week.
Wait, you just made me understand music there.
Let's jump straight in with the secret shapes that unlock the fretboard. These are also known as triads. You might have heard that before. And they're so important because they're your chords all over the neck. Without your triads, you're always going to be lost trying to figure out how to play over chords because you don't know the chords. So if you're improvising and you're wondering why you're struggling to play over the chords, I know that it's because you haven't spent enough time on your triads and dissecting how you can actually use them. So how do I use them in my playing? Well, if I'm playing over progression, I'm focusing on the triads. So in this progression, here's some triads on the, here's some triads going around. We got A minor, C, E minor 7, D minor 7. I'm not even playing notes that aren't in the chord right now. So these triads are the pieces of your music that you need to know. But how do we actually use them? How do we actually use our triads? Well, there's a lot of ways. Like I just showed you, using them in your soloing, but also using them rhythmically. So if someone's playing a progression like that was A minor, C, E minor, D, and you wanted to mimic it higher up on the fretboard, you could just play the chords. You could literally just play the chords, but as triads, just like this. It would be... Step 2 is how to switch from memorization to application. A lot of us go to learn scales and we just drill them. Scale after scale after scale after scale, and it sucks. And scales leave a lot to be desired. If you go to solo, and a lot of guitar players get this advice where it's like, okay, you learned your pentatonic scale, now just go play notes in it, and that's how you're going to improvise. What? And then what do you play? You go to solo and you're just going like... That's not a solo, that's the pentatonic scale, right? So how do we actually use scales functionally, applying them so we can use them properly? Well, it kind of ties back to the triads that we just went over, because the best way to use your scale is to tie in the notes of the chords. So if you're playing over a progression like the loop we were playing over earlier, which was A minor, C, E minor, D minor. You would want to learn the A minor, at least A minor pentatonic scale, which I'd imagine you know already, and then focus on the chords. So literally play the chords. Play A minor, C, E minor 7, D minor 7, and note what notes you're playing. Note what notes, that's funny. Note what notes you're playing in the chord so that you can use them. Just like this. So the chords are your home base, and then use the scale in between. It's not just fiddling around in the scale, it's using the chords and the scale together. That's how you get to the application of scales. Those first 2 are pretty good, but at the end, we're going to build a routine together so you can actually use all of these in your playing today. Step 3 is going to be hearing notes before you play them. This is a key step of actually applying theory to the guitar, because no matter how much you study the fretboard, if you're stuck thinking about the fretboard and not coming up with the notes in your head, you're just doing math. Like, you're not actually improvising and using the theory in your playing. The best way to do this is to sing with the ideas that you're already playing and separate the notes so that it's no longer like da ba da ba ba da ba, but you have different words, different numbers for each note. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's take a chord progression. For example, that A minor, C, E minor, D. And you want to sing with the corresponding numbers on the scale of the progression. So if we were in A minor, counting up with the scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we can label those chords with the notes. So 1, 1, 3, 5, 4. do this not only over chords, but over melodies as well. So let's say a little lick like that, right? We have 1, so octave on our 1, then 3 again, and then going up to 5. So 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 4. And the more you do this in your own playing by taking the ideas you're already playing on the fretboard and figuring out how you can sing the intervals with them is going to be such a game changer for the way that your ears and your head actually connect to this darn fretboard. Step 4 is why some chords sound good together and some don't. We've all had the issue where we go to try and make a song up and we're just guessing chords and 9 out of 10 of the ideas we have sound like crap. Okay, it's a big problem us guitar players run into. But if we can figure out why chords sound good together and why they don't, we'll stop having this problem. If we break down the notes of a scale, we can find which chords commonly fit into them just using the notes in the scale. Let's start in C major. And then, like we did our intervals with the minor chord, if we do the first, the third, and the fifth note, that's a major chord. And if we take that same set of notes and move it up the scale all together, so 1, 3, 5 plus 1 on all of them to 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5 to 2, 4, 6, and do that all the way up the scale, we'll get all of the chords that fit into the scale. So in a major key, it always follows this pattern. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, back to major. And if you want to do it in a minor key, it's the exact same pattern, but starting on the 6th note. So if we went back to major and counted with them, major 1, minor 2, and so forth, when we get to 6, that is our 1 of the minor key. So it'd be minor 1, diminished 2, major 3, minor 4, minor 5, major 6, major 7, back to minor 1. And you want to find out how the songs you already know fit into this pattern. So if you know a song that's C, F, G, F, you probably do. That's a pretty common chord progression. Then figure out how you can label those chords. So that would be in C major, because we have our 2 major chords right next to each other, which is almost always your 4 and 5, and that helps you find the key. Same in minor, by the way. It's if you have 2 minor chords next to each other, it's always the 4 and 5 of a minor key. So if we were to label those in C major, we'd have major 1, major 4, major 5, major 4. And you want to do that with everything that you know, so you can really get this into your head. By the way, if you're into this theory stuff and want to know how you can actually use it all over the neck, check the video in the description down below and I'll show you exactly how I can help you unlock the fretboard. Step 5 is how great songs break the rules. I'm a big believer that saying in music there's rules at all is kind of detrimental, because there's not rules. We're going over methods and understandings, but nothing's stopping you from playing whatever the hell you want. So great songs break the rules by not following the methods we just laid out. They follow different methods, or a lot of artists will just ignore them entirely. Whether they know them or not, they just take a second to not use them and write from their mind. A great example of this is Creep by Radiohead. This is a pretty common example of borrowing chords, which is when you use chords that aren't in the key. So this song is in G major. 2 of these chords don't fit in a G major. You might remember from when we just went over the diatonic chords of G major. If it was just the 1 chord's major, okay. Then we go to 3 chord. Wait, the 3 chord's major in Creep though? Yeah, it is. And then we go to 4 major. And then it goes to 4 minor, which is borrowed from the minor key. And how can you actually use this in your own playing? Well, a great way to get started is to take the major diatonic chords and take the minor diatonic chords and put them together. Play them both. Say you're in A major. I'm going to play the major 1 and then go to the flat major 3 for minor, and then go to the minor 5 for minor, and then major 4 from major, back to major 1. There's nothing stopping you from putting any of these major chords and minor chords together. I'll give you another example. Let's say we're in A minor, and we want to play then to C. So these are both diatonically in minor. And then we wanted to go to the major 6, also in minor, and then the major 4, which is a major diatonic chord. It sounds a little stanky, but it also sounds a little good. So experiment with putting these together in your own playing. So how can you use all of this in your playing today? Well, I'm going to lay out a model routine, but I want you to note that you don't need to follow it to a T, and I actually recommend you customize it to your own needs. So if some of the things we went over today, you're like, oh, I already know that, spend less time on that, or maybe even no time if you really have it down, and spend more time on the things that you're more unsure of. This is what I do for my students, is if they really need to learn one thing, I'll weigh like half of their practice time towards that one thing, and then split the other half into 2 things. That way they're working more on the thing they really need to learn, and then just still getting those chunks of the pieces that are important to know. So our model routine is going to be 5 minutes of drilling your triads across the fretboard, just like this. Next, we're going to spend 5 minutes targeting the triads in our improvising. So if we go back to this loop here, using the triads in your playing. Next, we're going to spend 5 minutes singing with our ideas. This is great following the trying to use our triads, because you can take any of the ideas that you particularly like that you were playing, and then try and sing over those with the intervals, just like this. 3, 5, 7, 5, 3. Next, spend 5 minutes breaking down any song that you know. Pick a song, say it's G, D, A minor, C. That would be in the key of G, and figure out how you can fit that into the chord knobs, the diatonic chords that we went over earlier. So that would be a 1, and let's just count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be a 1, 5, 2, 4. And do that with as many songs as you can. And next, we're going to spend 5 minutes experimenting with borrowed chords. This is where you're going to make up your own chord progressions using the major diatonic chords and the minor diatonic chords, and put them together and use them both. Here's a little example of that. That's 25 minutes a day to reach mastery. And if you want a customized plan that grows with you so you can keep hitting goals and not hitting plateaus, then check out this video right here that goes over exactly what that'll look like. God damn.